Hi everyone, we've got a treat today because I'm here with Helen Amery and Amy Johnson, who will be familiar, I think, to everyone listening to this podcast. And we're here together for the special event of the Enlightenment event that Helen is so brilliantly running with 12 speakers, I think, is it, Helen?
That's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Such a great comprehensive package of everything that is relevant and useful to living life, basically, I would say. And so we were thinking it would be really good. I'm doing my talk on Wednesday, so anyone joining in the next wave will be able to have that as a recording. Um, but they'll be able to have Amy's talk live, which is not to be missed ever. So we thought we'd just chat a little bit about what's happened, what's about to happen, what's coming up, and so should we start with you, Helen, just to give us an introduction, perhaps, to the
Mm.
event,
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah, it's so lovely to all be here together. It's a
isn't it?
nice little gathering. I'm glad we could make it happen. Thank you, Claire, for hosting us all.
A pleasure.
Um, so yes, and I know that some of your listeners will have perhaps already heard us talk about this on our previous conversation, but just to for anybody who missed that or who didn't get it or new people, um, yes, this event came on the back of actually the first idea was the summit, which happened back in January when, yeah, as you say, Claire, there were 12 speakers all came together and shared your conversations across 3 days, and which was such an amazing experience. Like so many people were saying how many insights they got, even though, you know, on the face of it, these were very relaxed conversations, just finding out about you all and what you did and what you loved about your work. But people were getting such such insight and realizations and mind-blowing moments of oh, that. And also I really loved how people saw the interconnection. So like you say, Claire, that it kind of touched on all the points that are relevant and people seeing how they'd kind of cut themselves off and shut doors to
Mm,
certain ways of exploring or certain methodologies or approaches because it was kind of like, oh no, that's not allowed. You know, I'm meant to see that it's all thought, or I'm meant to only ever drop back into the space of awareness. You know, whatever rule had been made up about, oh no, there's a right way to do this, and I can only do it that way. So I loved the fact that people were seeing all that and seeing the interconnection of all these different approaches. That was another really big theme. People saying, oh, I can see everybody's really sharing the same message, like everyone's pointing in the same direction, but with a very unique
mm,
approach and a very unique way. So it was just like, oh, amazing, exactly what that was designed for. And then yeah, this event now is slightly a misnomer being called an event because it makes it sound like it's a one-off thing. But perhaps like how we imagine sometimes that enlightenment or awakening is a one-off thing and like, ta-da, in one magic moment, everything changes forever. And it's never actually like that. It is a gradual, especially with enlightenment, very gradual um excavation of who we are as a person and who we're here to be and who we are in our nature. And so it's never a one-off event. So I guess this journey does actually replicate that it's bit by bit by bit, we see more and we see more and we see more and we uncover uncover the truth of who we are and what our natural authentic expression is, um, by seeing through all these layers of our experience. And hence why we've started with you guys, Claire, yeah, you and Nikki talking about Make It Visible, because you guys are so brilliantly, and it's showing for all the people who are in the group now, showing all the places where we hold back from life, where we resist, where we protect, where we we try and go forward, but then we get scared because doubt comes up or uncertainty and fears, and how actually that's all beautifully revealing the places we can enlighten, the places that we can make friends with these experiences rather than keeping running away from them. And then each month from here, we're then moving into the different ways that we can then enlighten that experience. And yeah, as you said, next month, March, is about psychological. So that's where Amy's coming in, where we've got and Amy, obviously you'll talk about that in a bit, but got Amy talking about her amazing work with questioning what thought even is, and Grace Bell, who's going to be bringing Byron Katie's work. And what I really love is that some of the people who have already signed up and who've gone, yes, I want this whole thing, some of them have been in this exploration for a good long while. And I really was so delighted when somebody said, I think I know all the thinking stuff. I think I think I get that, but I'm coming anyway. Like I'm going to be joining the whole thing anyway, because I never know what I might see fresh. I never know what this next conversation might point to and reveal and show me that I hadn't seen before. And that's really what I wanted for this as well. It's like there's no prerequisites, but there's equally no upper limit of, when you're allowed to join this, because wherever you are, it's going to meet you where you are, and you're going to hear what's right for you, and you're going to receive, and you're going to see and be met right where you are with what you need right now for this moment. So yeah, so I'm so excited. I've loved what's already come up this month. I mean, we're only just coming into the second half of it, and already there's been amazing insights for people in there. So I just can't wait to see what's going to happen as we move into March. Yes, and the doors open again on the 1st, and get to hear from Amy and Grace, and yeah, with me kind of topping and tailing it with context and Q&As and other bits and pieces that pop up along the way.
So
yeah,
great, Helen. And
excited.
we'll put this on the podcast notes, but how would people sign up for it?
Yeah, for sure. So we've got a page where you can click to book, and the doors will open again on the 1st. They're going to be open from the 1st to the 5th of March. So that's your opportunity to join for this next month. And as you said, Claire, when you join, you also get all the recordings that have gone before. So really, it's incredible. The value kind of builds and builds and builds as we go through. And there's an option to either just join, $333 per month, or you can join to my community first, the Wild Fig community. And once you're in there, you then get almost 50% discount on your monthly fee. So it's $177 if you join in my community first. So that's up to people which route they choose. But yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, it's amazing what you've created, Helen. It's just I feel like it's gonna run and run and run for years and years and years, isn't it? And just get more and more rich each iteration. And
Yeah, it could be like Reel, couldn't it? The Reel program that, gosh, in the early days of that, and each month it would run again, and it'd be like, yes, I'm going in again, I'm going in again.
It's true. I'd forgotten that, actually. Yeah, gosh.
A lifetime ago.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a bit then, Claire, about what because I know you haven't even done your session yet, but do you want to talk a bit about what's coming, and like you say, I'll give people a bit of a taster of what they will receive if they join for March, what they'll get on that recording.
Yeah, sure. So we're having it on Wednesday. So anyone who's in the event already will be able to come live, and anyone who's joining in March will be able to have it as the recording. And making it visible. The reason why I was asking if I could be in that slot at the start was because so much of what we look at on our courses is how the appearance of the world and all our perceptions, all our experiences are always pointing attention back to their origin. And it looks like their origin is out there, but really their origin is within, as the conditioning, as the learning, the belief system that creates an appearance of me and an appearance of reality that look completely separate, as though they have nothing to do with each other whatsoever. And so from that mind that is identified with the me as this completely separate entity, I'm in this continual, desperate, really, attempt to bring in what I think I need and push away what I think is going to threaten me. And that ongoing battle, which is really you mentioned Byron Katie. Byron Katie calls it the war, doesn't she? Like
Mm.
it's our ongoing war of continual struggle, continual suffering, and it just gets more intense. It gets more involved. It looks more and more real because all of the evidence is showing, well, yes, this is hard. This is a struggle. This is what you need. But really, the very fact of the struggle is saying, no, hold on. There is something amiss here. The appearance of reality, this visibility of um, other people, events, circumstances, and this appearance of me, they're not separate. They're made of the same conditioning and learning. And that alone, I think, just that one redirection for the mind, which is so logical, and we can't, there's no argument against it. It's completely obvious the more we look at it that all perception is coming from the same place within us. And that alone is enough to start loosening up this grip of an identified mind that is so lost in its own belief system. And so I thought it'd be really wonderful to explore with the people who are there to really see the different areas in our lives where this happens. And it might be that some areas very easy, very simple. There's a sort of natural process of desire being fulfilled, basically, because there's no confusion going on. And other places where it's so hard and we're continually trying to get these things and they just seem to move further and further away. And the things that we just don't want ever to happen are just in our faces the whole time. And what we'll do in our session is really look at what's going on. What are the confusions, particularly around the two things that I really want to look at are perception and appearance, the confusion around that, how the mind is tricked into believing its own creations. And then secondly, something that I'm really obsessed with actually at the moment is desire and wanting, and how confusion around what is wanted creates a sort of tangle of a tangle really where we're on the surface there's a want, but actually the underground more powerful wants, which are around securing the identity, trying to stop fear, shame, insecurity, lack, need. Those wants are playing out and they're preventing what's going on the surface from ever being fulfilled. And so that's what I'm taking from visibility, like this sort of the difference really between the surface reality and the underground, the subconscious realm that is really running the show. And until that's realized, we're always going to be operating from a lost mind perspective of identification and unquestioned belief. So yeah, really looking forward to that on Wednesday. And yeah, and then I'm really looking forward to hearing about Amy's work and you're focusing on thought for your session. Is that right?
Yes, I am. And I'm so excited to be coming after what you just shared, Claire, and I'll be on your session. I have it booked. I'm so excited. Like, oh, I have that hour and a half free. I'm so excited to be there. But I love how this all flows together. And like you mentioned, I mean, how Helen, how you saw this in a big picture way. And of course, it's kind of linear, but also not linear, very spirally and all kinds of stuff as we go through all of the months. But I can really feel that as you guys are sharing. So I'm going to talk about thought and psychological enlightenment and really what I'm just super into right now is like this addiction to thought, the way that Claire just talked about making this visible. First of all, seeing, and there's so many times we see this and levels at which we see it, but really, really seeing the extent to which every one of us is living addicted to thought. And I like saying it that way because it sounds very dramatic, and it is. It's like, it's a
So
big
true.
deal. Like, we are so up in thought form so much of the time. And even when we sort of know that, we usually still are. And so I just love to really go there and make that visible. And as it's visible, get even closer to it. And so what I'm sort of obsessed with at the moment is, what even is thought? Like, let's pull this closer and see what's even there. This thing we call thought, what is it? Is it images? Is it sounds? Is it feelings? Is it all of that in a given moment? And what are those? What's a feeling? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
What's a feeling? Like, what's a picture? What's this grainy picture when I say I have a memory that's causing me suffering? No doubt. Like, what even is that memory? As I get closer, I don't know, it usually disappears, or it changes, or it's confusing. And I just love the fact that as we pull things closer in life, like, we had this experience of thought that is unquestionable. We know when we're thinking, and we know what it feels like. It's a very real experience. Yet as we pull it closer, we know less and less about it. And we tend to get to this place where we're like, I have no idea. It's like that empty fullness. It's completely there, and it's also completely not there. So
Yes.
to explore thought in that way, and our addiction to, like, what are we even addicted to? Let's look at it. Well, we don't even know. Isn't that
So
interesting?
brilliant.
and and to also, as part of this addiction to thinking, which I know is coming up later in the event, is to drop into the body more and more, come to the
Mm.
senses more and more, because I've just found for myself, like, I can't think myself out of an addiction to thinking, but I can continually come to the body and to the senses. And and that just shows me when thinking is there. It just becomes so much clearer. But for me personally, and for a lot of people I've seen it, it I don't know, I think it takes that piece. I think that at least that piece really, really helps. Like, when we're here grounded in reality, immediate right now reality, you will notice when a time-based story shows up. You won't when you're in the time-based story so much. So there's that kind of piece too, which I love. Again, looking at the arc of this event, I know there's months coming up that are all about physical enlightenment, emotional enlightenment, and you can just feel how it all flows together. So exciting.
I love
Yeah.
that, Amy. And I love how what you've said, it totally connects with what Claire's said about that subconscious driving the whole thing. Because for me, that, and you were the first, Claire, to really hold me steady in looking at stuff that I was so afraid of. Because it looked like if I turned and faced those terrible thoughts that were so
Mm.
terrifying, that they would actually happen, that would
Yeah.
make them come true. Whereas in fact, what I'm hearing from both of you, it's that thing of when we actually hold steady and face these things, they do dissolve, they do disappear and disperse. And we never know what's going to come on the other side of that. But it's usually a lot kinder and a lot more loving and a lot more aligned, which is the whole point of this, than whatever was happening before. And that, yeah, that dropping into the experience, becoming unafraid, that favorite Sid quote of mine, if all that people learned was to become unafraid of their experience, then that alone would change the world. And that's again what I hear and what you're both saying. It's like when we become unafraid of the thoughts, the ideas, the experience, the whatever it is, and come close to it, like you're saying, Amy, then it can't help but be seen as not a problem. It's all okay. And then that opens us, doesn't it? Yeah, then, like you say, Amy, then we can drop into the body, because then we can be with the stuff and clear the unconscious, the subconscious of the fears of shame and disappointment and failure and humiliation, whatever else is lurking there. We can then turn and
Mm.
face all that stuff, because that it's the avoidance of that, isn't it, that's driving that addiction you're saying about, Amy.
Yeah.
I've never seen that so clearly as last year. It's like I called it the escape to the mind, where, oh my God, well, I can't be with that experience in my body so quick.
Yeah.
Get into thinking. It's much safer in thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
Or so we thought.
So we thought, we
Yes.
realized, don't we, the enormous power of the human mind to create these futures and demons and images of other people and what they're thinking about us, that it's just such a fabrication. And yeah, realizing that, moving into it, it's gone, it goes, it can't survive attention on it. And it can't, like, I love what you're saying, Amy, about the attention in the body, because yeah, I mean, above all, it's that, isn't it, bringing the mind into reality, which, and the closest we've got is the body for that. It's
Do you think that's why yoga, because obviously you practice yoga as well, Claire? I don't know if you still do, actually. Is that still part of your work? Yeah, is that,
yeah.
because that's where I see yoga as one of those, talking about physical enlightenment, like you said, Amy, which is coming later in the program. That for me is why yoga is so powerful, because you get so present with your physical experience, and you're so aware of like whatever's going on in, like, when you're in a particular difficult pose or something that my hamstrings especially don't like. But it's an incredible opportunity to be present with that discomfort, and to, as I've got less afraid of it, actually go, well, what is this in my hamstrings that's screaming so much?
Yeah.
And realizing, that presence with it actually isn't as bad as
Yeah.
when I was in my mind going, oh my God, my hamstrings are too tight. It's way worse than when I actually feel what tight hamstrings are.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say, I think it all, I do think it, because I think it is also very possible to go to a yoga class and not experience what you've just described. So I would say it starts with always an understanding of this thing called the mind and this addiction to thought, and from there go and do yoga. I would say always, because otherwise, I think anything can be used as an escape or a distraction or a sort of numbing out sort of thing. But yes, so powerful to do any body thing from greater and greater depth of exploration of what the mind is I think it's extraordinary.
And so just, I don't know, exciting to start to see these things play out that were previously invisible. That's what I feel like people are going to get as they immerse in this, especially for the whole event, if they do. Like, just to be able to be in the pose and watch how the mind is just trying to help. It's just wanting to help distract. Like, let's have a thought instead. Let's take a little bit away from the hamstrings and let's think about this instead. And to see that with like compassion, but there's such a thrill, I think, that comes, like a whiff of freedom that you get when you start to notice that after being so just blinded by it for so long, which is really exciting.
I love that, Amy. Yeah, one of the things that breaks my heart is when people take that phrase, it's just my thinking, it's just a thought, and it's like, no, stop dismissing that experience, because, like you say, it's so innocently trying to help, it's so innocently trying to protect us from something that it thinks is dangerous. And it breaks my heart when people say that in such a flippant way, like a kind of mantra that's going to solve their life. It's like, no, we have to be with this stuff. And as I said before, about the people who are coming and have still joined for the psychological month, because they know there's something more to see, there's always an opportunity, and it has to be seen in that moment. Like, we can't borrow an insight from the past, or a moment from the past, and try and bring it into now and say, oh yeah, I've done Baron Katie's work and I've seen what Amy talks about. No, I know all that already. That's not how it works. It has to be in the moment, doesn't it? It has to be fresh and here now. And that's that's why I'm so delighted people are coming, even though you'd say, oh, they're well versed in this stuff. That openness to say, yeah, let me look again, let me see See what I
Wonderful.
see this time.
And it's like it's always a yes, not a no. And I think that like, oh, it's just thought. Like there's a real feeling of like, no, don't need to look there, don't need to go there. I know that
Yeah,
already, like
right.
you're saying. And it's just a great thing to be aware of. And what if we just flip that? And it's like, ooh, let me see this too. Let me see this too. Like anything that's here is it. This is the portal in. What's showing up right here, which just again, it's just such a nicer way to go through this too. 'Cause it's like, yes, yes, yes. Let me see what I can see rather than trying to wall off and say no to things.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And actually, we've connected right there to the very end of the program, because I remember you really connecting with Heather's session in the summit where she was talking about the yes to life. Like if we have a yes to everything that's showing up, that's here, how different our experience becomes. So you've just transported us right to the very final session of the whole of the at least the first 6 months where Heather will be back to do her session.
Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant.
it's beautiful.
Well, maybe that's a good place for us to end then, with the end of the event.
Yeah.
And oh, thank you both so much. It's always just absolute pleasure to see you both. And congratulations, Helen, on the event, and congratulations, Amy, on all of your amazing work always. And
Yeah, and to you, Claire, and thank you both
Thank
for
you,
being
Claire.
here.
Yeah.
yeah, looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, you too. Lots of love.
Bye, my loves. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.